lightweight, baby! Together and like put their shoulders and like interlock. That's called a tickle fest.
Yeah, so the tickle fest happens.
Tickler rolls the ball into the middle of the tickle fest. And they tickle each other to see who gets the ball.
You fucking with me?
Yeah, for sure. High level goofing.
And like gets all up in the bean and shit. Like it's jazz, bro. It's just like
You are a nice person, and it makes your jiu-jitsu worse.
Oh no, oh no, oh no. As he's doing like backflips and cartwheels with someone, and he's just like, ah, woo, woo. Juico's not a big shit talker, which I appreciate. I'm a big shit talker, and he tolerates me.
I feel like Juico's shit talking is like all or nothing. You'll just like not ever say anything mean and be like, you're a bitch.
maybe like, why does it have to be so negative?
Because negative engagement is the only thing that's. Game plan. You wanna clap?
Yeah, let's clap.
Are we doing 1, 2, 3 clap?
It'll be one at a time. Sick. Oh, that sounds so sexy. Damn.
Yeah. How do we sound? Are we on?
Not as sexy as me, but
I know sometimes.
yeah, y'all are all good though. Let me check.
Sometimes you sit in your corner when you're asking the guest a question and you get real low with your voice.
Me?
Yeah. And
Bro,
I can't even do your voice.
We were fucking talking about this on the way over here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes we were talking about like comfortability in front of the camera and shit like that.
Right.
And we were talking about how I have noticed about myself that sometimes when I'm speaking, I'm working on speaking more clearly. And I feel like sometimes / oftentimes I get like real low and mumbly, you know? And I'm kind of worried about it because I don't know if it's clear. You know what I mean? So you saying that validates the fuck out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But is it clear?
It's very sexy.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
When we first got these mics, and it was William, and then we went to William for episode 1, and then
John, right?
John, yeah, John or Jackson, yeah. And it was the first time we had the mics, and I was working with the shit in post, and I told you about like how good it sounded.
Yeah.
And I said some dumb shit like fucking. Oh, I said we sound like butter on velvet or some shit like that. And I was like, I immediately regret that. That sounds so stupid.
About butter on a griddle.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I feel like a big old slab of butter melting on the top of a stack of flapjacks.
What was it? Product 9. Product 9 is the bee's knees. We gotta get the word out.
Item 9.
Item 9.
Yeah, item 9.
What movie is this that I don't know?
Of course you don't know it.
Pineapple Express.
Oh yeah, sorry.
They're doing like testing in an underground government bunker on item 9, which is Pineapple Express, which is a really good strain of weed. And then they do like this test on this guy, and he's just smoking a joint, and it's really
Bill
funny.
Hader.
Yeah. Bill Hader, and then he
Do I
starts
know who
doing the
that is?
skibbity bops like what you do when you're rolling. That's exactly how the scene goes out.
I did that for like fucking 5 minutes, rolling with Matty Graphs the other day.
Well, I kind of want to do like try an intro and then introduce.
Sick.
Mik, what is your job title?
I'm so sorry. I was checking my phone. My wife texted me. I'm a...
Hi, Anna.
Hi, Anna. Shout out, Anna. Geographic Information Systems Analyst.
So if I'm saying he
GIS.
is a geographical information analyst.
You say GIS Analyst.
Dumbass.
Or cartographer. It sounds fancier. It's, which is the art of map making. And technically I am a cartographer, but you know, if you just want to like...
Bro, I fuck with cartographers so hard.
Yeah, cartography is pretty cool.
Create like an air of like, I don't know, arrogance and just like, oh, I'm a cartographer. But yeah, I think GIS analyst is like more chill.
Welcome back to another episode of Game Plan, the podcast. In honor of Veterans Day, we've got our friend Mikael Lopez here with us. He is a cartographer and GIS analyst. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for having us out at the C7 Ranch.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're also doing this out on a hunting trip. So we actually have the Tackett brothers out currently trying to get some pigs. So that's their trucks out behind me, and maybe they'll come back with something while we're shooting.
It's like, did you ever play like search and destroy mode in Call of Duty video games or something?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what they're doing with the hogs. They're doing search and destroy.
So tell me about your a little bit about your military background, when you got in, and kind of what that was like for you, and how that got you into your current role.
So I enlisted in the Army National Guard in 2007, and it was partially because I was like, oh, I need a way to pay for college. And then the reality is that I was a terrible high school student. Our high school, Juico and I went to, not really, celebrated for its academic programs. So I was like, dang, dude, I'm not going to get into...
We'd be sportsing, though.
Yeah, sports. Yeah, football was big. But I was like, I'm not going to get into college, so I need to figure out something to do. So I went to basic training and after I graduated, and then went to advanced individual training at Fort Huachuca. I was an intelligence analyst. And after that, went to like my first unit and got pulled on full time because they were getting ready to go to Iraq. So that's what moved me to Austin. Our unit was based out of Camp Mabry, right there on Mopac and like 35th Street.
Mabry.
Yeah. So I was with the 36th Infantry Division headquarters in the G2, which is the intelligence section, and then went to Iraq in 2010 to 2011, and then came back, tried going to like Austin Community College full time for a short bit, but I missed like having a reasonable income, I guess, and also was like doing okay with college, but I was getting a little bit bored, so I just went back and found more work with the National Guard, did like full-time stuff in Round Rock. And while I was there, our primary focus was called like a defense support to civil operations or civil authorities, DISCA. So we did like search and rescue, another acronym called CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive reactions. So if there was like a train derailment where like a bunch of chemicals spilled out, we would go out there in our unit. Like I was part of just like monitoring the situation and trying to plot where like plumes of toxic gas would be, and then we had another unit that would go in there and set up perimeter, and then a really specialized unit that would go in with like all these high-end pieces of equipment to detect various chemicals or any CBRN threat and that kind of stuff. And we had another unit that would go in and extract them and pull them out and do decontamination and medical triage. And then yet another unit that would do engineering. So if there was some sort of collapse, they were engineers. They would do like vertical shearing on the collapsed structures and help set up all the harnesses and things to like pull people out of rubble piles. That was pretty cool. And then after that, went to the U.S.-Mexico border for a year and a half, doing kind of a counter-narcotics mission with Border Patrol, DHS, and Texas DPS at the state level, and then like advising them in kind of intelligence operations. And after that, I went to Afghanistan for the first time. We were the, what's called, if I'm going too fast.
No, keep going. Yeah.
We were the TAC South headquarters, which we're based out of Kandahar Airfield. I was in the G2 there again, and I was what's called like the Fusion in COIC. So my team of like contractors and soldiers would just like gather intelligence, create products on trying to predict like what the enemy's going to do, try to create targeting packets for operations or kill and capture stuff. And then after that deployment, I started doing defense contracting. So I went back to Afghanistan 3 more times after that. And I was really a consultant to like help U.S. and NATO and host nation Afghan partners like utilize our super expensive spy planes that we have out there, the manned and unmanned ones, and how to coordinate all of their collections so it's efficient and that kind of stuff. And I told you last night, like I had to leave because that guy was trying to kill us. So
Yeah, you got to give me a little bit more of the story there.
yeah, I was based out of, at that time it was called Fob Lightning in Gardez province.
What year is this?
2017, maybe. Yeah. And we were co-located like next to a U.S. Special Forces base, and then next to both of our bases was a huge Afghan army base, and they had a history of what are called green on blue attacks. And what that is when like an Afghan, and not like a Taliban or ISIS or something like that, but like a Afghan army or Afghan police or something like that, individual like commits an act of violence against like a U.S. or NATO partner. It's called the green on blue incident. So they had a few of those where before I got there, where they had killed like the task force command sergeant major of the cycle before, which was like really crazy. And when we were down there, like we got intelligence reports that one of the Afghan guys that we were training was trying to poison us by giving us poison chai or tea. And we didn't drink it the first time he tried to do it because we didn't see him make it. So we didn't like drink it. We were just like, oh yeah, thanks, and held on to it and didn't really drink it. But then an intelligence report came out that this guy was like trying to kill his U.S. advisors. So I talked to the unit I was supporting, and I was like, hey, this guy's actively trying to kill us right now. I don't think we should go train. And like, I remember like the major that I was talking to was just like, what? Why would you not do that? And I was like, bro, this is like literally like the number one threat that we're concerned about, like your command's concerned about, and you're just like kind of blowing it off. And he's like, someone's got to do it. And I was like, we can do it another way. But this guy was just like really stubborn about this threat. And I felt like he wasn't taking my life seriously, or the other guys I was doing advising with, or the infantry platoon that was there to provide us protection. Like when we were doing encounters, like in their office, helping them just like do Excel tables or read maps or like plan, we had to have like a U.S. infantry soldier in like full helmet, armor, M4 with the round loaded, just standing there like on alert at all times. And they cycled out every 15 minutes just to make sure they were fresh in case anything popped off. But
There to protect you guys,
yeah,
as you're just like giving them the information or training.
yeah. So it was called like a guardian angel, and so me as an advisor, I would go over to the Afghan base, meet up with an Afghan, and be like, hey, what's up? Let's get some work done today. And the whole time we're just like doing stuff at a desk or on a computer. There's just like a guy with an M4 like 5 feet away, just like staring at us the whole time, right? So
And that was, was there obvious like other instances where guys got attacked or something and they needed that?
yeah, so that
guy there to protect you guys.
that was kind of like the response to a few years of green on blue attacks. Like every time it happened, there's a whole investigation. We look at what went wrong, what might have happened, and usually when that happened, it wasn't. There was a mixture of things, but it may be like I offended you as an Afghan for whatever reason. We get into just some beef, and sometimes like the Afghans would just be like, a lot of times they're just like, oh, whatever, and like can walk away and just like do it. But sometimes dudes would just get so mad that they like turn their guns on their U.S. advisors or the NATO advisors. And so every time that happened, and it might be an ideological reason too, or they might be coerced into it. For example, all these guys are from Afghanistan. Maybe they're not from the place they're stationed, but when they go home to visit, the Taliban, for example, may find out like, oh, Davis is an Afghan soldier working with the U.S. Well, unless you do XYZ, like we're going to kidnap someone from your family and maybe kill them, maybe hold them ransom, whatever. So you might be coerced into that situation where you have to make this like crazy attack on someone. But yeah.
So explain to me the green and the blue. It sounds like NATO and U.S. or
Yeah,
versus
so
the host
so
country.
blue's like us, the friendlies, I guess you could say. green is the host nation, and then red would be like the enemy.
So like in Afghanistan, that would be the Taliban as
Yeah.
red.
Yeah, at the
U.S. NATO is blue, and then host Afghanistan, like Afghan army is green.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there would be like, when you talk about like operations, you can talk about like red on red, and that was when like ISIS was emerging in the Nangarhar province, and they were fighting the Taliban, and we were just like watching the whole thing. And so you would see like briefs, and it's like red on red incident here, and red, and you're like, okay, that's Taliban versus ISIS, and it'd be like blue versus red here, or just, you know, a SIG act or something, a significant activity. You're like, okay, that's more conventional, like us versus Taliban in a firefight or
Right.
something.
Did you say TIG means significant?
What was that?
Did you say TIG act?
SIG act. Sorry,
SIG act.
significant
Word. Gotcha.
activity. But yeah, there's like a gajillion acronyms in the military. I've already forgotten half of them.
I love it.
Um,
I love words and shit. You know what I mean?
But yeah, after that, I was like, you know what? I need to find a better job that people aren't trying to kill me at. And I was like dating my wife, my current wife at the time, and I was just like, I just want to be with her more often and just be back home and like try to, you know, build this thing out. So
Shout out Anna.
yeah, just found a job back in Austin, started working like the corporate world, and yeah, here we are.
Did your like skills or training in the army and as a contractor get you right into your current role, or did you need more training after that for what you do now?
Kind of a roundabout way. So, yes, I had a lot of really transferable skills, including learning GIS in the Army. And then I learned like the basics, and I just started adding on my own.
And what is GIS again?
The Geographic Information Systems.
Okay.
Oh, there's the Tackets in the background. Shout out Tackets.
They're coming through. I told them, it's like, yeah, we're shooting, but just come through. It's all good.
Nice. Yeah, it was cool. Learned some things. I actually started working at Dell there, and that was more of like a direct. Like, what's up, guys?
What up, boys?
That was more of a direct, like, translation of skills. But then I got laid off at that job, and so I was like, hey, I'm gonna use my GI Bill and just like finish college, because like I want my son to see like dad actually like made it happen, like did what he had to do, got a college degree. And then I learned a lot when I went back to college, and I studied GIS at Texas State, and then graduated actually in May earlier this year, and, you know, found a really good job where I'm at now.
Nice. Yeah. So with that, there's like the cartography or the ability to make maps, and we've had fun the last day out here on the ranch, kind of going around and seeing the different parts of it, and then you were looking at some stuff on your computer.
What's up with that?
Yeah, what's
going on
like,
there?
I only see this place just kind of as is hiking around, you know, hunting and that kind of thing. But when you're looking at it from your perspective, what are like, how are you analyzing like this piece of property, right? Like, what are the main features you're looking around at to make like a map, for example?
So the first things I noticed were like the foliage out here, the health of the trees. Obviously, this is like kind of a semi-arid environment, but you still have really good wildlife out here. Great old oak trees, a lot of cedar that we were talking about that probably moved in. So I'm interested in what's promoting that growth, what's sustaining those things. But then we went back south a little bit, and then the elevation changed. So I was like, oh, let's look at the elevation and let's start looking at the water. And then we talked about differences in grass colors on one part of the property versus another. Right. And then so now I'm like, oh, now I'm kind of curious about just the health of the vegetation over time. And now that's something like I want to go look at using satellite data. Remote sensing is the field that we call it, where you use the sun's light reflection to just like analyze it and extract like and quantify how healthy a group of trees are versus another one, and how that's changed over time and stuff like that. So that's just kind of the stuff I start thinking about when I'm like out here, and then finally getting into like more micro detail, shooting lanes for like the deer stands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
right.
so, oops.
God damn it. Fuck.
Yeah, so and then I'm going to be interested in like plotting those out and looking at your field of view and seeing like, you know, what is maybe beyond the field of view, in the stand right now, and then just like trying to show you what you can maybe see if you like clear out XYZ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you spent a lot of time looking at satellite images?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thousands of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All over Afghanistan and.
Yeah, Iraq, Afghanistan, U.S. I think our planet's so cool, just like how it's naturally formed, and then more so like how humans interact with our environment, and then how the environment shapes our cultures and our societies and our borders and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I've always like the only thing I don't know anything about Afghanistan really. Just talking to other veterans like yourself of just how the desert mountains, or I guess there's alpine mountains as well, but it's very mountainous, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's like on the western end of the Hindu Kush, and then there's a really big desert starting like in the south, and then the majority of the west of the country is really flat, arid desert, and I mean like sand dunes and like stuff like that. But there's always rivers because there's so many mountains. There's snow that melts off that creates big rivers, and they turn into small streams eventually. And you'll see like little villages that just pop up in the middle of nowhere. There are nomadic people in southern Afghanistan in a big desert called the Rejikhanestan Desert, or the Rej. And that one's pretty trippy when you fly out of Kandahar airfield. Kandahar is a pretty large city, especially in Afghanistan. You fly out and you see like the city, and then there's like a couple small hills, and you look and there's just a big, thick red line of just like, it looks like the movie Dune. Just
Bro, I was about to say, is it Dunish?
yeah, super Dune-ish. But then you go
Arrakis.
a little Arrakis. But then if you go like
Arrakis.
further east into like the mountains, and like I mentioned, oh crap, I forgot the name of the province. But when you go like further east, like towards Kabul and Jalalabad and all that stuff, it kind of is like a pine forest. You know, it looks like you're in Utah. Like I think we watched some war movie with Mark Wahlberg. Was it like Lone Survivor or something? I don't remember. But
Fuck, I don't
I think
remember.
that was filmed in Utah, and I was like, damn, that looks exactly like
Yeah.
Afghanistan. Yeah.
Mm.
nice. So, you guys just went to Chicago together recently to watch some rugby. Who did you guys watch?
We watched New Zealand versus Ireland. It's pretty sick.
Was that like a championship matchup? Like
No, it wasn't a championship matchup. I think it was for the autumn internationals, and
autumn internationals,
mhm.
just like the season.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I think they called it like the rematch, which honestly I'm not exactly sure why, because they don't play each other all the time, but I don't know. It was significant. I don't know. Maybe I'm too casual of a rugby fan to know, but we had a good ass time. It was sick.
Yeah, I just went to, hang out with Juico and his wife and just watch some like world class rugby. I don't even follow rugby that closely, but it was just so fun.
Yeah, well, we haven't talked about it before, but Juico used to dabble in some rugby himself, so I guess you've become like a pretty big fan of the sport and you follow it.
I follow it. I guess more than normal people.
Yeah, definitely in America or in Texas, right?
But honestly, I don't follow it too much. I ended up being more of a rugby fan after I stopped playing because I missed it. So I ended up dropping out of rugby because whenever I started training jiu-jitsu, kind of fell in love with that. I was doing both for a while, and I was like, body can't hang. You know what I mean? Like these knees and shit ain't working. So I dropped rugby to train jiu-jitsu, and haven't really been back since. I miss it. I'll probably fucking break my knees off if I did. But yeah, since then, since I'm not playing anymore, I watch a shit ton.
Why Chicago? Like, why is a European team and a New Zealand team meeting in Chicago to play?
I think to promote the sport in the United States.
Like NFL playing in like London or something like that, you know?
Sick.
Yeah.
Do you
But it was awesome. But honestly, like, there were fewer Americans there than there were Irish and Kiwis.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. Right? Like,
Yeah.
do you feel like it pulled in?
Oh, yeah.
A
Like,
huge draw.
Yeah.
I was surprised by it, actually. I didn't think they would, because I would imagine it's easier and more accessible to watch Ireland and New Zealand play in Europe, or
Yeah.
or New Zealand, Australia, shit like that, where
Well,
they play
and
much more often.
I thought, Chicago has so many like Irish Americans that are like, I was like, oh man, yeah, of course they're gonna do it in Chicago. Like all the Irish Americans are gonna come out and just like have a good time and like represent for the motherland or the fatherland.
Yeah.
But no, it's just all just like straight dudes like from Ireland. I'm not gonna try to do an Irish accent.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
It's gonna come out Aussie.
Yeah, that was my first time. Your first time in Chicago
Yeah.
too, right? Yeah.
Great city.
We were there or my lady and I were there for like 3 days, 3 or 4 days. Had a good ass time. You were there for a little bit longer,
Yeah.
right? We got to go back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Who won?
New Zealand 26 to 13.
Yeah.
All right, give me like the rugby rules for dummies, because I've never watched a match.
But put in jiu-jitsu terms.
Maybe, yeah, that might help.
Boy, got that strong ass ashi, you know what I mean? Nah, pass backwards, kick forwards, don't drop the ball forwards. I think that's basically it.
So it's like touchdowns when you cross the other side of the field.
Yes, but you actually have to. I guess this is where the American touchdown came from, because in rugby you have to physically apply downward pressure on the ball into the, I guess, end zone.
But not like spike it, but like put it on the ground.
Yeah,
and
you
hold your
can't,
hand
like,
on top of it on the ground.
Contact.
Right. Yeah, you need contact onto it. If you spike it, then that would be considered. If you spike it and goes forward, that would be considered a knock, and then you end up having to do like a 5-meter scrum or something like that.
Do they call it a touchdown?
It's
A
a try.
A try?
Yeah, a score is called a try. Out of bounds is called touch. It's fucking weird.
How many
Refs are sirs.
How many players are on each team?
It's the sides are 15 versus 15.
And
For
then
15s, and then there's sevens rugby, which
when
we
the-
touched on Hong Kong sevens. Sorry, go ahead.
When the guys get together and like put their shoulders and like interlock, that's called a tickle fest.
Yeah, so the tickle fest happens with
And then,
fucking
and
way,
then the
dude.
head tickler rolls the ball into the middle of the tickle fest, and they tickle each other to see who gets the ball.
yeah.
Are you fucking with me?
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
What is the it's like a Spartan freaking battle formation. What's it called?
Phalanx.
The
It's
scrum.
called a scrum.
A scrum. That's a cooler word.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
And then are there like
What are the throw-ins when they like line up and then they lift a dude in the air and
Line
they,
out.
A line out. That's cool to watch.
they lift a dude in the air to throw the ball?
Yeah. So when the ball goes in touch or out of bounds, generally you perform a line out. So if we're going against each other and the ball goes out, like out on me, right? Then his team would get to throw in for a line out. And the idea in a line out is you're supposed to center up. Each team has one line of people, and whoever's throwing in gets to put in however many people they want, and the opposing team can match up to maximum of the, like, I guess, offensive team at that point. The idea is for the number 2 or the hooker. It's called a hooker. That's what I played. That's what I started at. The hooker throws the ball in, and it's supposed to go ideally, or like theoretically ideally, down the center between like the channel, and then each team jumps and like tries to catch it out from the middle, bring it down, present the ball back to their team, and then resume play, or a maul is created. But there's a lot of like gaming the game in rugby, I guess similar to jiu-jitsu with like reaping or whatever. But there's a lot of like kind of cheating stuff. So the hooker might like take a bit of a step favoring their side to give them a better chance for their team to catch the ball, because you're supposed to throw it down the center.
Yeah, that seems like a crazy thing to ask for in a sport. They're 2 single file lines, right? And you're trying to throw it down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's your incentive to actually follow
But
that
make sure
rule?
both sides get a good chance, dude.
Yeah,
Help
exactly.
the other team.
But the advantage comes from like the offensive side is because you practice lineouts, right? So you can orchestrate like kind of like a dance of like fakes, you know? So like one guy could be like, oh, and then the defensive team could be like kind of focusing on them, and then they throw it up and high, where two of the offensive team players like kind of sandwich on one guy, grab him by the shorts or legs, fucking launch the dude in the air basically.
Like cheer, like
So they do like a
hardcore cheer
pump
stunting.
fake, and then they like
Yeah.
set up some cheerleading tribe,
Yeah.
like pyramid formation.
100%.
Okay.
It's so cool.
And they get it like higher than the other guy. And so even if it's down the middle, if the offensive team is all on the same page, then they can get it down the middle, so it's like fair and even, but much higher than the other team can get. So it's like an easy pick, bring it down, resume play.
And how many points is a try?
5.
So how do they get to a score of 23?
Field goals.
Multiple tries, drop goals. Yeah.
I don't know what they're actually called.
What's a drop goal?
A drop goal is a way to score during play that's not a try. And in order to perform a drop goal, the person has to bounce the ball off of the floor first before kicking it in between sticks, like a field goal.
And that's
And the rugby ball is like a obese football.
what was it? Was there like a original rugby ball of like the historical rugby ball? Was it made out of like pigskin, like football or something?
Probably, yeah, some kind of leather. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what did you say that your first position was that you were playing?
It's called a hooker.
A hooker. You look like a hooker. So there's 15 guys. How many hookers on it? One. Okay. So 14 other guys. How many other like positions are there? Forwards or wings or other things like that?
Yeah.
Just like in hockey or soccer or something.
Oh, is that similar to hockey? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like
I was
any-
surprised. I don't know shit about hockey.
I
but
feel
I'm
like any of those like court
you,
things,
you,
right?
You,
Like,
you be knowing shit.
yeah, like hockey, soccer, basketball, even, right? You're kind of having like a very similar offensive and defensive structure, right? So are there other guys that are more on the team for like getting in the middle of the scrum when you're all locking up, and they're like the big strong guys that kind of push forward, and then there's guys that are like what, maybe faster, that try to actually score the try?
Everybody can score, but it's just different methods of how to get there, generally based on like body type and shit like that. So whenever you scrum, it's the forwards. So a team can be kind of divided by roles generally in forwards and backs, and the forwards are generally the bigger, thicker boys that do the scrummaging, right? The backs are like generally a little quicker, more agile, gazelle, right? Run fast type. So, but everybody's important.
So it's not like fumbling in football, but you kind of tackle each other, right? Like if someone's running, you can take them down to the ground, or you focus more on like grabbing the ball and pulling that out of their hand. Because what I'm wondering is, I feel like with what you were talking about of like the backwards passes, like are guys getting tackled with the ball, or is it like as they're falling they're just already getting rid of it, or is there a rule about like you can't get tackled and hold on to it?
Absolutely, yeah. So all of that happens. You're running forward with the ball. You pass it if you can. If you get tackled, the person can either eat the tackle, take it, and then whenever the tackle's made, ideally present the ball back to their team, but to their offensive team, so like pointing the other way that they were going. Alternatively, as the tackle is being made, if they're nice, they can offload it. They can pass it back to their support, because generally everybody's always running with support. But those are like a little bit risky. Flashy as fuck, cool as fuck, dope ass highlights, but it's risky because like you're dealing with somebody else that wants the ball.
Right, they might just snatch it and
Exactly, and go. So sometimes it's better to just eat the tackle,
And that's where it's almost like a play, where there's like a stop in the action and a little bit of like a reset. Because it seems like rugby is a little bit more continuous than football, but there are times where like a play starts or like a stop of the action happens.
Yeah. Whenever a tackle's made, action doesn't necessarily stop. It does slow down, but it's...
Momentarily.
Yeah, but it really does keep going.
And what do you call the officials in rugby?
Sir.
Sir?
Yeah.
There's so much language with this sport that I've not really heard on any other sport.
I do like in rugby, I've noticed, especially like in televised matches, you hear more of the sirs or the refs interaction with the players on the field. That's not necessarily like penalties or things like that, but they're like very vocal. They're like, stop poking him in the eyeball or I'm going to blow the whistle.
Do they have like mic'd up sirs?
Yeah. Keep the ball moving, keep the ball. And it's kind of like, you know, if there's a good ref in like jiu-jitsu or maybe like keep the action going.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You hear use it a lot. So talking about pauses in play or like things slowing down. Say a tackle's made, it's close to the try zone, and the offense is like trying to figure out what to do, what the best move is to do. So when a tackle is made, the offensive team comes up and like secures the ruck to prevent the other guy from like kind of bulldozing in through the gate to jackal for the ball. And so there's fucking thick boys, right? Just hunkered down. They can do that for, correct me if I'm wrong, but almost indefinitely until the sir says something, right? And sir's main job is to keep action, keep things moving, keep things going, player safety, right? So for pauses in play, they'll like sit there, hunker down on the ball, and like you see eyes darting around, like trying to figure out if the best move is like to pass it, make space, drop goal, kick for position, something like that. So you'll hear the sirs say on the matches, you'll hear use it a lot. And that's like the sir telling them to use the ball, like do something, move forward, don't just sit there. You know, so you hear like, use it, use it, use it, use it, a lot.
Do you know where rugby started?
I don't want to say England.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to learn a little bit more about like where it came from, kind of back to like the ball, because there's always like cool stories of, you know, what the original.
I think it came from a university, something about like Webb Ellis, and it was like the first or main shit.
This Japanese soccer player took a boat to England and taught it to a few guys, and they went into their neighborhood and just adapted it slightly and started teaching it to their students. And now
he said, "This is how you tickle.
This is how you tickle secretly."
You gotta go. You gotta diddle.
And
like
then before you know it, is just like a self-defense sport in the favelas of London.
So what are like the time periods? Like
two halves.
2 halves. So kind of like soccer on that. How
40
long?
minutes.
40 minutes. And then what are like the leagues? Is there like the MLB of rugby or like the international? Like what is the highest level of the sport?
World Rugby.
World Rugby.
I think so, yeah.
It's not as confusing as like soccer.
No, it's fucking confusing.
Yeah, it
bro.
is as confusing.
There's like the premiership.
Yeah.
There's the top 14 is French. There's like Gallagher or something. There's Super Rugby, which is probably one of my favorites. That's all the like island boys. You know what I mean? Premiership is like basically highest level 2, but it's all like Euro, you know. So, but yeah, Super Rugby fucks.
Are there any like John Joneses of the rugby world? And it could go back in like different timelines. Is there like legendary, like the greatest of all time rugby players?
There is. I forgot the name. It's almost embarrassing. Maybe I'll cut this out because I have full control of everything.
Farts.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a couple guys. There's one in particular, Lomu, John Lomu. Fuck if I don't know. Island boy, fucking little tuft of hair, thick ass. He's a thick wing.
Yes.
Is he Fijian or who does he play for?
He played for the All Blacks.
Oh.
I don't know if he's like.
And he's the
New
guy that
Zealand,
I've seen like
but-
sticking his tongue out doing a haka,
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
right?
Yeah.
Many guys stick their tongue
Right,
out.
but I think
Yeah.
I'm thinking we need to pull up a picture or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the rugby, what's the ball called? Just the ball.
Ball.
Well, you have all these funny little terms
It's
for
a tickle
everything.
spot. Pass that tickle spot.
The reason I was asking is like, have you guys heard of like what's it called? It's like Kok-Boru or
Shuttlecock.
Kok-Boru, the Asian game that's on horseback where you use like a dead goat as like the ball, right?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
Bro, what?
That's like prominent in Central Asia. So
Yeah,
they would play that. Like,
yeah. So like in Kyrgyzstan, I think it's like their
Yeah.
national sport or something, and you have like this dead goat, and I think now they have like a dummy version of it, but like the origins of the sport is like all these dudes on horseback playing something that's not that different from any kind of soccer, hockey, basketball, with the dead goat as like the ball.
So back to Afghanistan, there's like a lot of ethnic groups in there. The majority are called Pashtuns, but there's a minority in the north, Tajiks, which Tajikistan is across the border, right? So they share a lot of ethnic traditions and lineage with them. So they play that. And there's this one guy who is like an Afghan warlord named General Dostum, and he was kind of prominent because he helped organize the Northern Alliance that helped U.S. Special Forces during the invasion of the war back in like 2001. But he's not exactly like, the Boy Scout, right? Like he has his own ulterior motives, which are power and money. So by the time I was there, he was kind of on shady ground. He was one of the vice presidents of Afghanistan at the time. It's so weird. They had like a CEO of the country and a president of the country. We're like, what's the difference? And like, no one knows, but they each had their own vice presidents. Anyways, so Dostum, being a crazy warlord, attended one of these events, a really big one, and he saw a political rival there. So he had that guy like kidnapped at the fucking game, just like in the crowd. He had his goons go over and just like grab this guy. They threw him in the trunk and they sodomized him with rebar and then just like left him on the side of the road. And I think he was a member of his own political party, but he was still had just enough like something that Dostum didn't like about him to just like publicly do this to a guy, like a straight like thug mafia kind of, not even that. I don't like, we don't see that in the United States as often. It's not as high level, but yeah, that dude was crazy, and it happened at one of those events.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah.
Had you not heard about this sport before? Have you not seen this?
Dead goat ball? No.
Yeah, dude, it's
I think it's more like dead goat polo.
yeah. Polo, I think, is definitely more similar.
But how are they like? So polo's like.
Yeah,
No, so like these guys are like some of the best horsemen in the world. Like they're descendants of the Mongol Empire, right? So they've had horses in their warrior culture for centuries, since the Middle Ages, and so they've all just grown up doing that. So they, without saddles, they'll just like grab the goat off the
They
ground.
just
at a full
pick up a
gallop.
dead goat
And
off the ground.
throw it, bro. It's sick. We need to pull up a highlight.
Yeah,
That's like.
and we could go ahead and pull that up.
Fuck me. I just don't understand how they. It's like 100 pounds
I mean,
Yeah, dude.
in stride.
Dude. These guys are just like really fucking skilled on the horse. They've been doing it for a while.
Built different.
They're like, Americans are really soft when you compare us to like at a physical level.
Yeah.
Like, to like mountain people still living really hard lives. Like we aren't shit, man. Like you, I don't know. You have great nutrition and great workout routine and access to
My body is a temple.
facilities and knowledge and stuff. But yeah, like pound for pound, like, man, I would not survive in Central Asia on my own in like an austere
Ooh.
environment.
Callback survival. We were talking about like like survival shows and like wilderness shows and shit like that with William for the last one that dropped recently.
Yeah.
We were talking about like shows like Alone and shit like that. How long do you think you would last in that kind of scenario?
Where am I?
I was about to say we can get a lot more specific, and we'll say you're here, and we're not gonna say where exactly.
We're at the C7 Ranch.
We're here, and you don't have any of this stuff. You don't have a house. You have no electricity. You have minimal tools. You can get like a backpack maybe with 5 items or something like that from your house. But you're here, and we'll call it winter.
What are your items?
Winter, bow, machete. That's all I need.
What are you gonna do for water?
I recycle my own urine. Okay, well,
talked about this.
Since you brought up water, I guess I probably could use like emergency filtration straw.
Okay. You still got 2 more items.
Definitely. I don't know. How long am I surviving for?
As long as you can.
Oh, as long as I can?
Like, what 5 items are going to get you the longest?
There are 50 other people at the C7 Ranch, all trying to survive for the longest amount of time possible.
Is this like the game Rust?
I have that game downloaded, but I haven't played it because
never mind.
I get overwhelmed.
We'll edit that out. We could go ahead and cut that.
Here we go.
Okay. Okay, so I have bow and arrow, emergency water straw, machete, some fire source that's not a little Bic lighter. Because once you get a good fire going, like you can just sustain coals and just like have that at your bed down site, just like walk around, and survive as long as possible. I don't know, rope.
Nice,
a lot of rope. I have some of the old skills and stuff like that. I wouldn't be comfortable. I'd be really annoyed and miserable, probably worried. But could I survive? Especially like the deer you have out here, man. Just like the setup you've done out here to like make a good hunting experience. Yeah, I think I'd eat okay for a bit.
Yeah, I think especially like you got a bow.
Okay,
or
maybe
a couple
not
rounds.
somebody's ranch. Okay, maybe we're not trying to survive at somebody's ranch.
All right,
but
mountains of Afghanistan. How long you lasting? Dead of winter.
Dead of winter. 72 hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. Had you ever been hunting before?
No.
So this was both of y'all's first time hunting yesterday?
He has. Oh, you haven't?
No, not really. Like the bow I had was for bow fishing, so I'd done a lot of fishing, but like never got a chance to like actually go hunting. Yeah.
So it was a small trip, but we did do some kind of classic Texas hunting yesterday of sitting in a stand and just seeing what comes by, which was really cool. We got to see quite a few deer. What did y'all think about that first hunt and having never done it before? Like, what did it feel like?
I thought it was sick. We didn't shoot anything, so there's that. But just honestly, I see it as like just an excuse to chill with homies.
Yeah,
like that's how I see a lot of things actually. So.
Well, I have like a good example of like you live in an area in Austin just like I do, where like in our neighborhoods, far apart, separate neighborhoods, but like really large population of deer.
Yeah.
Right. And you see them all the time, but you don't really react. Right.
Yeah.
But then yesterday we're sitting in there and the first buck walked by, and we're all talking and chatting, just kind of hanging. But they're like, oh, there's a deer, and it's like a completely different response to seeing it, right?
Yeah, different environment, different intentions.
And I think that's like, I think hunting's great for a bunch of different reasons. And one of the things that I've always noticed when I get back into it is that like your visual acuity picks up in a way that we don't normally do that, right? Like when in y'all's day-to-day life, are you constantly scanning something, looking for a change in something, right? Or like whatever, eyes, movement, shadows, or listening to, right? So it's both visual and hearing. Very rarely it's like smell, right? But I just think it's cool because we, like for you guys, you don't ever tap into that. But then I felt like especially after we saw the first deer, you guys very quickly were like scanning and looking, and then like you see them, I think that's like a part of our DNA that comes out immediately once you think, okay, I am looking for animals. Now I'm gonna start scanning.
Bro, like I be going to pinballs and I fuck up some big buck hunter, man. Like I'm kind of nice, you know. So
Yeah.
On the big buck
I've
hunter.
basically done this like 1,000 times.
I had different expectations. So before, when I would like consider hunting and things like that, I always thought like, man, hunting in a deer stand just looks like lame, and it's just for like lazy guys who only just want to drink beer and just like shoot a deer while it's eating.
I'm so not mad at that.
And so I was always thinking like, if I go hunting, like I'm just gonna be like out there stalking and just
Yeah.
like trying to stay downwind and doing all the shit I see on the fucking internet or whatever. But like going to that stand, I was like, no, this is like, it changed my perspective. I was like, this is like an opportunity to just be a fly on the wall of nature.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
be unnoticed and just see. And we didn't shoot anything yesterday, and I still had best time because I just got to see deer being deer
Yeah.
in their own environment. See the other stuff. We, wondering what's scratching outside the
That was
stand
sketchy.
and like
Yeah.
thinking like, should we shoot through the plywood at whatever's over there?
we finished our hunt yesterday afternoon, and right behind where I was sitting, I guess it was either space in between the plywood we were sitting on
Yeah.
and then another piece underneath that, but there was something scratching in this wood stand that we were in, and it's a little bit unnerving.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing that I love about being out here is, like you said, being kind of like that fly on the wall. And if you, especially at a place like this, if you just stay still and stay quiet, like there is so much life. And like you can change your perspective and see it in different ways, right? Look on the ground and you'll just start seeing the ground doesn't stay still. There's bugs crawling and moving all over the place.
And you know what? I never in the stand felt an inclination to reach down and open my phone and open Instagram and start scrolling.
That was kind of what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Was when you get into that state of mind where you're like, especially after you see an animal, and then you're like, cool, now I'm looking for more, right? And I think it's just really good for you. And yeah, it's like a level of presence I don't think people have anymore. And then the other side is like, we were all chatting, so it's kind of like a little bit of a hang. But a lot of the times there's the quiet downtime. And I think some people hate the idea of like going to a place to sit down in silence for hours, right? But it's kind of like it's like meditation, you know. If you sit there, you're gonna have your thoughts race, but like you said, you be off the phone for a little while. And I just don't think people take the time to kind of do that kind of stuff. So taking a few hours to go hunting can be very good at like helping you find a reset and kind of slow you down a little bit. And so I've done this my whole life, but with some kind of bigger breaks in it, and really got into it since this spring again. And I've just found it makes me super happy, puts me in a good mood, and really just the biggest thing would be present, right? I think that I'm on my phone a ton. We're always working on stuff, making videos, and I don't mind being on my phone, but sometimes I realize that I haven't been present in the moment, right? We were talking about earlier spending time with people you love or something, and then it turns into you're sitting next to each other and you're on the phone. And it's like, that's not really being present with each other.
Yeah.
Right? So
And like to build off of that too, it's like a new way to like bond. Like we talked about how men are, bonding with men and just like creating those friendships and things like that. So like full disclosure to the audience, Juico's been my best friend for about 20 years now. And we've shared a lot of time together, but that was like a new experience. Yeah. New experience for us together that like I really enjoyed that we hadn't been able to share before. So like that was super cool.
That was cool.
And then you were teaching us the whole time, and you've already been teaching me jiu-jitsu for a while, and I know you're really good teaching in there, but just like seeing you in another place that you're super comfortable and knowledgeable about, like I was just like eating it up, man.
yeah,
That
no,
was cool.
we shot some arrows yesterday, and we kept missing the target, so we had to go find the arrows. And I definitely put on my like Sacagawea hat, and I'm like, okay, there's arrow tracks this way, and it's finding like a lime green arrow, but like
I think you're more of a like the Last of the Mohicans, Daniel Day-Lewis-esque character.
I'm gonna
I-
retire. That is the greatest compliment I think
Yeah.
one could get.
Yeah, sweet. Oh, speaking of Native Americans and whatnot,
No.
like
To answer your question.
not disclosing where we're at specifically, but there's a town nearby called Santa Ana. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Well, never mind. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean,
Well, so there's a really small town out here in Central Texas named Santa Ana, and I've only driven through it, stopped once or twice for like the bathroom or bite, and I was always like, oh, maybe it's just named after Mexican general. But then we stopped, and my kid had to pee really bad on a road trip, so we went into like a shop and were just talking to the owner, and hearing what he had to say. And he's from the area, and he told me, Santa Ana was local leader of Comanches back in the day, and there's a big bluff that overlooks the town, and that's where the Comanches would, just stay and hole up, and it was a great defensive position, like cliffs on 3 sides, and the other side's easily defensible. They had access to the river, they had access to wildlife and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, that's cool.
yeah, I have a fascination with it. Obviously, it's kind of like a tough piece of American history, right? And I mean, especially in Texas, I don't think that it was any different than anywhere else in the United States, whereas we were expanding westward, there was conflicts between Americans and Native Americans.
That's why the Texas Rangers were formed.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And this area is probably part of that, where there was
1000%.
they were fighting over it. But
Yeah.
my interest mostly lies as like a hippie of, there were people that were living here.
Mm-hmm.
They were in a different era and type of technology, and kind of like you're saying on the survival stuff, they were surviving. And there's
Hard people.
there's not a ton of information that I've been able to find, and I'm sure that there's like Native American experts that do have this, but like I've been curious to try to figure out what kind of clothes were they wearing from being in this kind of central Texas hill country
Naked
area.
and afraid.
Yeah, they were just doing Naked and Afraid for generations.
What else?
Hardcore
But
mode. Yeah.
There's things that in my hippie mind I'm like, cool, we're gonna go back to how they lived. We're gonna figure out how to eat like they did, but it's not really possible anymore because like the Comanches were clothed and fed by a lot of bison, right?
Yeah.
So without the bison, like that's a ton of your house, a lot of your clothing, and then I'm sure tons of calories, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like there's bison in this part of the state of Texas, and I'm sure at one point there was some, right?
Did you ever read or listen to Empire of the Summer Moon?
No.
It's a very good book. Full disclosure, I listened to it on audiobook. I didn't read it.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count. So I listened to this book, Empire of the Summer Moon. But it's about the Comanches in Texas, and the author goes into a lot of good detail. He's done incredible research. But he names places that we know today, places where the Comanches go, but he does talk about like their lifestyle, the logistics, the structure of their families, the structure of their tribes, and kind of talking about food. There was one thing that I recall where the Comanches could just like outride anyone. Like the Texas Rangers could not keep up with them for the most part because they would just ride they'd grab 3 horses and just ride a horse till it died, and then hop on the next one and ride it till it died, and then hop on the next one.
That is.
But if a
fucking
horse died and they were
sick.
hungry, then they would just while it's dying, just cut it open, take out the small intestines, wrap it around, like a bandolier or something like that. And then just as you're riding, get a snack and just squeeze out some, whatever the horse was eating and eat that and sustain on that.
Bro,
For,
that
I
is-
will say, I think one of their desserts, talking about the bison, was I think the stomach contents of a nursing calf.
Mm.
So
Damn.
it's like curdled milk.
Curdled milk, yeah.
And honestly, when I had read that, I was like, you know what? If you're
Metal.
on, 100th generation Naked and Afraid, that's like ice cream. That's got to be
You think they
rich
fuck with,
and high calorie, creamy. To them, that's got to be
Yeah.
delicious. I'm sure to us it would be rancid and disgusting.
I don't know. Wheat goes into weird fermentation, lacto-fermented coffee beans and whatnot.
Bro, that fucking, what was it? It was like a lacto fermented salsa at that spot. Know what I mean?
Which spot? We have many spots.
Fuck.
Oh, that one.
Thank you, bitch.
I don't know.
Juice, you're a bit of a coffee connoisseur, a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had any of those coffees that are like
The cat shit coffee?
Yeah. Poop
I've
coffee
had a
drinker?
little bit. It was all right.
What pooped it out? Monkeys or elephants? Or?
No, it was like that fucking cat thing. It was like a weird cat. It's like a fucking tree cat. I don't know.
Oh, the ones that I think
It's like a limu.
Are these like Central American or like South American?
Some shit,
Like
yeah.
animals?
Is that fuck?
I don't know much about the pooped out coffee bean industry, so
I
You tell
thought
me.
there's only one mainstream shit coffee, and I thought it was like some tree cat.
Folgers or Maxwell House.
Mainstream
Mainstream shit coffee.
community.
Yeah.
with any
CC.
with any of your coffee snobbery, could you explain at all like why a coffee bean that an animal ate and then shat out would make the coffee better? Is there any like change in acidity or anything?
I honestly don't really fully understand the shit coffee. Like, I understand fermentation a bit. We were literally talking about co-fermenting coffees earlier this morning, but yeah, that's like fermenting coffee with shit that tastes good, like blueberries, raspberries, mangoes, pineapples, big fruit, so that whenever all that shit gets all like bubbly, I'm fermenting right now, right? Gets all like bubbly and like melty, and like gets all up in the bean and shit. You know what I mean?
A little warm too.
Yeah, everything's all like it's jazz, bro. It's just like doom 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 doom. And those flavors really fucking come out because they've just been like sitting and getting to know each other for like time, you know. But as far as cat shit coffee, man, I don't know what the fuck
I
are
love a
eating
good
shit.
cup of coffee, and I like all the different, espresso machines, or I call it cowboy coffee, percolator, I guess. You got pour over. All of them are great,
You've had coffee at my spot, right?
but I'm one of those that like give me the Maxwell House into a drip machine, and I'm perfectly happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's not having the palate for it, and I guess there is objectively bad coffee, but I'll even have 7-Eleven,
I think that goes back to like, are we surviving or are we thriving?
Yeah.
And I think Folgers and Maxwell for me is just like, I'm surviving.
Yeah.
I'm not like a coffee fiend like Juico necessarily, but I do like something with like, I don't know. I drink my coffee black, so it's not like I need pumpkin spice, XYZ, and creams and this and that. But just like a good black coffee with like a little acidity, maybe a little fruitiness. I like that a lot.
Yeah, no, Juice is over here making like the poop bean espresso coffee and then turning it into a latte with like a Christmas tree design on it.
Yeah.
And that's just like a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday first
Every day,
coffee.
bro.
Yeah, one of five
Every
for the
day.
day.
Every day, every damn day.
I wish William was in here for that for
See
the
if I can
you and Williams every
him.
day.
every day.
No, they went they went back out. So we've been out here. We came out here yesterday and did a little evening hunt. William Tackett was teaching class at Fight Factory, and then him and Caleb Tackett drove out and joined us. They didn't get here until about midnight, and I'd love to hear. So in the evening, it was like Texas style hunting, but then at night we went looking for pigs in Mik's Jeep. And what did you guys think about the setup we had last night?
Was that not also like a Texas style hunting? And
For sure.
like a slightly different like.
For sure,
Lens.
definitely for the pigs, right? Like
Yeah.
in Texas, we have like the heli hog hunting stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's like that. What we did last night was we all jumped into the Jeep and we had spotlights and we were driving around.
Well, we took the
yeah.
doors off and we took the top off of the Jeep, and so I drove. You were navigating. Juico was trying to film, but it was very dark.
So I was just chilling, bro.
Yeah.
I was just chilling.
And Caleb Tackett's hanging out, the passenger
Left side.
back seat, left side, with a spotlight on his rifle scanning. And William started off on the right side and eventually moved to standing up in the back like a gun truck. He's just like scanning all around with his spotlight.
Getting
We're
hit by
like,
branches.
yeah, we're blasting Rammstein like as we're driving out.
Do
And then
us.
That was so fun. And then we turned it down and did like a little bit more chill music and slowed down the drive a little bit, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, and we didn't get to shoot any pigs, but man, let's
saw a
think. We
gajillion
saw
deer.
we saw
Skunk,
10
hare,
deer,
deer, raccoon,
couple raccoons, an armadillo. I want to say
a mouse. Should have blasted that fucking mouse.
could have blasted the mouse. Yeah, the scariest animal out here to me is the skunk. I am
Yeah, you're like, don't shoot. Do not.
dude. As
Do
soon as I
not-
saw it, I knew that
Please.
they would want
He
to
said-
shoot it.
He said, please.
Please do not
Please
shoot the
do not
skunk.
shoot."
Getting skunked, like I would rather you guys take
I'm
me to
so
the
thankful I
hospital
haven't had that experience.
for a rattlesnake bite than get sprayed by a skunk. And maybe if I got bit by a rattlesnake, I would take that back. But just
Red
the
and black
idea,
also kills Jack.
the idea of having that funk on you, just that to me is more scary than anything else out here.
I pride myself in my hygiene. It would kill me.
Yeah, well, at least maybe being like all hairless, you could get it off faster or something.
Yeah, I'm like
We-
a fucking dolphin.
We'd throw you out there in the redneck hot tub and just like go get a bunch of tomato sauce or whatever.
Fuck yeah.
I've never actually been around anybody that got skunked, but I remember from
Don't wanna be.
childhood that was the method, right? It's like
Yeah.
something about acid gets it off.
Something like that. But they smell like
Oh,
gas,
uric-
like when you're
uric
driving
acid.
down the highway, and you can tell
You
one
actually
got
have to
ran over from like a mile
piss on
away.
them.
Yeah.
We should talk over each other more.
The last time I was driving out here was at night, and I went around one of those, like, you know, it's 70 miles an hour and it's like a 40-mile-an-hour speed change on a turn. I was coming in hot and I was slowing down, but then at the curve there was a skunk, and I was about to smoke it, and I was just so afraid of like hitting it, and then my car just smelled like skunk, and then I perfectly straddled the thing.
Hell yeah.
And I was like in a bit of a adrenaline rush for a second, because once I got over it and I clearly didn't hit it, I was like, oh, thank God. That would be a disaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so last night was super fun. We drove around for like at least probably a solid hour.
At least an hour.
Yeah, trying to find pigs, but you know they're
But it was so cool. Like we'd be driving, and then William or you or Caleb would be like, "Hang on, stop," and then we stop, and then they dismount,
yeah.
go sweep, look for anything, come back, and we keep going down the road. Oh, it's so cool. We're just like jamming some music the whole time. The stars are out. It's
We're
beautiful.
playing Rammstein, and then Wico's rocking the German army surplus jacket. So it's like a
It's perfect.
German influenced midnight hunt.
It's perfect.
Yeah, that was probably the most fun I've had in like a year. I don't know. It was awesome.
So I think we're pretty much done with hunting, but after this, maybe we'll get back out there and go do some more of the general redneck activities, shoot some guns, maybe drive the 4x4 a little bit, maybe have a little bit less concern about the scratches on the sides compared to the Jeep.
Yeah. It turned out I went out and looked. And
Did you already put the
I put the doors back on.
and the roof? Yeah.
Not the roof. I need y'all's help.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's
But
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's all
cool.
good.
Yeah, if you could put the roof on by yourself, I'd be extremely impressed.
Feats of strength.
Thriving, not surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you like a Festivus guy, Juice? Feats of strength. You know what Festivus
I
is?
don't even know what that means. I don't
Mick?
even know what you're talking about.
Not in the context you're bringing up. I don't know.
It's another time on here that I'm referencing the Seinfeld TV show.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But there's like the Festivus pole, and now there's like Festivus holiday parties, and like one of the traditions of Festivus is like feats of strength.
Nice.
Sorry, bro.
I know feats of strength from like professional wrestling where they would do like the interlock the fingers overhead and like pretend they're like, oh no, I'm being overwhelmed, and then like turn it back and then like do it to the other guy.
Just mercy gripping each other.
It's mercy gripping each other, but it was a good way to just catch a breather for those athletes and like, just do something for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. The professional wrestling stuff is so interesting to me because, like, I was into it when maybe it was like a young kid, but like whole adult life, I've always just kind of knocked it, right? Like, I'm into jiu-jitsu and boxing, MMA, that kind of stuff. I was just like, oh, that's like fake fighting. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, man, definitely on the athlete side.
Yeah.
What they can do, the acrobatics, the choreography, that's impressive. But then they're performers. It's like a
Yes.
cool combination of they're athlete, but they're also showmanship, you know?
Bro,
Yeah.
the fucking lucha libre shit we saw
That's
in Mexico was
incredible.
sick.
You went to a Lucha Libre
Yeah,
match in
bro.
Mexico? Nice.
Front row. It was sick. Super dope.
I was never into like the WWE growing up, mostly because I wasn't allowed to watch it. But I always thought it was kind of cheesy. A few years ago, however, in Austin, my friend just said, "Hey, there's a small wrestling thing going on. Do you want to come out?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And it was like a super small promotion. I think it's one of those where like each wrestler makes like $25 for the night. You know what I mean? He's like driving off in his old beat up jalopy,
Yeah.
and just like broken body. But while they're in that ring, like it was a small crowd, but it was just so fun. They're really engaging with the crowd. It was just like the bad guys were cheesing it up for the bad guy angle, and the good guys were super cool. And they were very athletic, a lot of them, and it was just really fun. It was a good show.
There was a guy at the gym that did some wrestling.
No
Like
way.
that.
At
Yeah.
Fly Factory?
Yeah. He was there for like a year and a half. He was really cool, but he was like he was one of the white belts that didn't make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
I need to stop saying that.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Or the white belt that didn't make it.
R.I.P. for
Oh.
people that haven't died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's funny being in the jiu-jitsu environment. Like we were talking about that with Will on the other episode of like I'm in this perspective where I get to like see people come into jiu-jitsu and then like sometimes like sometimes it takes over their whole life, you know, and other times it's not as much of a difference, but like it does change them. And then you see the people where maybe right at that point where you're going to start actually learning some jiu-jitsu and start getting some benefits from jiu-jitsu training, and then they fall off, right?
Yeah.
Like what you're saying of like the lost white belts.
Yeah.
And it's funny because sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't, and it's like for me, I don't know how many of those I've come and gone by, you know? And I just like couldn't even, you could describe the guy and who knows if I could remember it, you know?
How many students do you think you've trained throughout the years, if you could estimate?
In like just jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Really, I feel like it's like really not that many. I'd say
I count for at least 10. You're welcome.
But yeah, I'd say something like that because where I'm really like, especially now, seeing the time spent doing the job is like I've got like second generation students coming.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like kids that grow up now they got kids and gonna be training their kids, you know, or old training partners that have them and stuff like that. So, or like the first students, right? Like I have a kid that I used to coach who won like a state title in wrestling, you know? So he's like probably junior, senior year, you know? But I started training when he was like 3. So not just like on the number of people, but also like the length of time with some of these people, you know? I mean, there's some people I've been training for up to 10 years, maybe more.
Yeah. This kind of actually reminded me of like a thought I had, and I put a little bit of effort to it, but ended up moving on. When I was in college, I needed to find a good GIS project for a class. And one of the things that GIS is really good for is like spatial distribution and like data science, just like measuring growth and things like that. So I wondered if I could estimate how many black belts there are in the United States in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and project that growth into the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, because there's exponential growth that happens all the time. And if you were to like, what's the benefit of this? If you were looking to open a jiu-jitsu gym, right, you're going to, I feel like we're kind of at the precipice right now, but you're going to have a lot of competition because there's going to be so many black belts in the future.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, it's like all the guys that came over in the 90s and 2000s from, you know, oftentimes Brazil, black belts started their gyms. They all have black belts now. They have you know, like William, all those guys. And who knows if you guys go on and train other students in the future that become black belts, right? And they're going to train students.
What you're making me think of is like all of our Professor Rodrigo, right? So Rodrigo Cabral, he had only given out like seriously, I think less than 10 black belts,
Yeah.
up to like 2022
Yeah.
or something like that. It was not that many. And then in the next like 2.5 years, he had like given out at least that many and another 15 or something. So he went from like maybe less than 10 black belts to like probably 20 plus,
And
and it was because he had spent so much time as a coach that it took a while. Then all of a sudden his went, a lot steeper of like, he's putting out more black belts. So on that like jiu-jitsu family tree,
yeah.
at the beginning, it was like wherever we come from, like a Holz Gracie side of the jiu-jitsu lineage. But then it was to Rodrigo, and it wasn't that long. But then now, like you said, yeah, that's going to hit however many he ends up giving out. And then I'm definitely going to end up giving out some black belts one day too.
Yeah, and he has pretty stringent requirements for black belt, right? Compared to some other academies out there where, we talked about the one I started training at before where my first day there were like 20 black belts in class. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And now looking back on it, maybe not as, it's still a good gym, but different requirements to achieve black belt. And it's not a disparagement of their accomplishment at all. But different gyms are going to have different amounts of just people training in general, different amount of people promoting. But we're just at a point of exponential growth. And I want to see that distribution across space and time.
Yeah, no, even for me, like, in some ways, I mean, I only got my black belt like a year and a half ago, but my take by the time I got it was like it didn't matter anymore because there were so many, right? Like when I started jiu-jitsu, I'd love to see from when I started in 2009 to when I got my black belt or to now, whichever, of how many more there are, because being a black belt in 2009, that's like a huge outlier, a very rare breed, right? And then I would say in that 15 years it took me to get there, it hit the exponential curve. It had to have, because, I mean, even take a city like Austin, there's, I don't know, hundreds of black belts potentially. There's like 80 jiu-jitsu schools in the Austin area now, right? So.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, Fight Factory has what, 20, 30 black belts probably?
Yeah.
Like in total that are kind of in and out there, or at least got their black belt there. And it's like, that's one gym.
And from going back to like the research question, or just, like the curiosity, like, could I project all this? All the data is like so crap out there, right? Like we could maybe do some data scraping to try to find mentions of a jiu-jitsu gym somewhere in Austin and then plot it and then try to figure out estimates of how many students are out there. And like the data sets that do exist out there, like IBJJF, right? Like I'm a registered black belt or IBJJF, right? Like we know that's super incomplete. It's not a realistic picture of the world. I don't know if we could even sample it and try to project like what the real picture is, because I think it's just like so inconsistent. But anyways, I gave up on that project, but maybe I'll go back to it.
Yeah, I'm very interested in statistics for jiu-jitsu and just stuff like that. I never really took a lot of math courses outside of statistics, because like with what I studied was like biology related. So it's always like a bell-shaped curve, right? For population distributions and stuff like that. But there's a blog called The Grappling Conjecture. And so like this weekend right now, we got ADCC East Coast Trials going on. So it's like a qualifier for the ADCC World Championships, right? In a super exciting tournament. And what I would expect is probably by Monday, usually they put it out like right after, but this blog will post like what we learned from the event. So they'll take in how the matches played out, right? Was it a decision? Was it like, I don't know how much they go into like, was it a decision or a decision at overtime, right? Like there's a lot of ways you could compartmentalize that, but then there's also like decision versus submission. And then they'll give like a nice pie chart of like the distribution of the submissions. So you can see what's the most common, then you can see like what obscure ones people are hitting. And nobody, I mean, I don't know who's putting that stuff together, but I think it's really cool. And it is really helpful for me as a coach to look at stuff like that and be like, yeah, this reinforces my philosophies of usually you see like a good third is like a rear naked choke or like a choke from the back, right? Like for the submissions that are happening, that's pretty much the most common. Arm bars are always relevant, you know? But I think that there's, just like in anything else, like there's definitely the use of taking the data and then being able to like learn from it. And like I even talked about this on one of my very first YouTube videos of taking the grappling conjectures data and then figuring out like how would you go in, say, for if he does it for this weekend for East Coast trials, look at that and then change your training camp and your game plan for West Coast trials.
Fuck.
It's close. It was good.
All right, no, hold on. We just have to get this. We're just going to keep going. Game plan. Fuck yeah. Fucking go.
That was nice. That was crispy. That was crispy.
Good little echo, too.
But
Yeah, so I think that that's cool with clearly like somebody with an information and data driven like interest in jiu-jitsu. That's probably just like a hobby or something like that. But they actually have a ton of, they do it for like a W&O who's next, or who's number one. And they'll just be like, what subs did we see here?
And I
Who's
can
number
validate.
one? Austin, December 5th.
Check that out. Yeah, Kalahari.
Check
Yeah.
out
Oh, at
our
Kalahari.
boy,
Damn.
Grayson
Get into a
Henley.
water park.
Grayson Henley.
This won't come out for long.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
should be
I was like,
fun. Yeah. We got our boy competing. Go out and
Yeah.
support.
I can validate as one of Davis's students that he does use those stats to like teach us. So we do a lot of focus on rear naked chokes and arm bars. And you've taught us how to take sand in our hands onto the mat and throw it in our opponent's eyes at the beginning.
Yeah.
So all those things do work.
I don't think that there's a better self-defense move than the Dale Gribble. The pocket sand is like so good. I consume a lot of like street fights, arrests, different things like that.
Bro.
And I saw an epic pocket sand in a street fight, 2 chicks.
Nice.
And they're like squaring up. And I had nobody knew. She must have picked it up, in advance, planning ahead. Squaring up and then just blasts her with the pocket sand straight to the face. And then I don't even watch how they ended up fighting, but I just thought like the slow-mo of seeing the sand to the face.
I have an unhealthy obsession with like fight porn.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I mean,
It's like a
especially if
whole
you train
subreddit.
too, right? Like you probably look at it and you're able to like identify
Bro,
little
I
bits of
hate
like
girl
wins and
fights.
losses.
It's fucking boring. Grab hair, one hand, wail the other hand.
Yeah.
Just eat it until
Yeah.
somebody gives.
I kind of fall into that trap where I'm like, that was dumb. Why didn't you just like
Yeah,
Throw
the
him.
armchair quarterback of like
Yeah.
a self-defense or like a street fight or
And
something.
it's kind of like the confidence that you described in the episode with Jeremy, where like your uncle taught you just like a hook, and then
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like driving back home, and that's all you know, and you're like, look at these inferior. Like,
Yeah,
plebes out
yeah,
here, man. I
exactly.
could just waste this town if I wanted to.
No, and I think like you have a good perspective with that because I think some of the jiu-jitsu specifically guys have that same thing I had where it's like, oh, I know like a little bit of jiu-jitsu or maybe I'm really good at jiu-jitsu, and it's like, yeah, but it doesn't help when someone has pocket sand. I don't care how good your leg locks are if someone's got pocket sand.
I ain't worried about no strong ass ashi.
Which
outta
direction
here.
are you gonna know to butt scoot when you have been pocket sanded?
Yeah, it's hard out here.
Yeah. Or is the mat equivalent of pocket sand the mat herpes in between the mat sand?
Oh yeah, biological warfare on the mat.
Are you talking about taking a scoop on mat herpes and?
Yeah,
fucking-
like you're in a,
you're
you
like,
know, you're on
"Ugh,"
bottom
You got
side.
somebody inside.
Someone's trying to fucking Americana you, and you just reach out and go in the seam and smear it, just like under
Just
the nose,
right
even.
under the right under the nose, above the lip.
And all of a sudden, you've escaped bottom side. Yeah,
That's
that's the stuff they don't teach you in school.
that is fucking nasty, man. You know what? We were talking about Americanas last night during our
Oh, yeah.
night hunt, and I'm like, man, I need to fucking change a mindset or something because I feel like there's so much I don't do because I don't want to. I'm so like worried and in my own shit about like being perceived as an asshole, and like I feel like it's like almost limiting.
Well, you're kidding
You know what I mean?
yourself if you think people don't think of you as an asshole. So
Well, first of all, the
Let
lion
that
does
go.
not concern
You're
himself
already
with
an
the
asshole.
sheep.
just hit the submissions,
Just fucking hit it. Strong ass Ashi, baby. Here we go.
No, I do think that there's an interesting side of like you are a nice person and it makes your jiu-jitsu worse.
Yeah.
So maybe something that has to do with your attitude can allow you to be more effective at jiu-jitsu. It's like, yeah, if you want to submit people, you gotta like really want to do that.
And maybe this is where my perspective is someone who's not particularly good at jiu-jitsu can talk about what it's like to be subbed a lot and tapped a lot. And there's a nice way to do it, and there's like a slightly less nice way to do it.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, like our dynamic when we're rolling is different because we're just making dick jokes and shit. But I see you when you roll with other people, and you've never been like the person that's like overly aggressive or this kind of stuff. And then when you do get a sub in, like you're not cranking it. You just, you know, you get it locked. Maybe they tap. Maybe you're like, all right, we're here, and I could squeeze, or we could just reset. And I think that's like super respectful, and like people appreciate training with you.
Yeah, I would say that like everyone would prefer to train with that compared to someone that is like rolling for the win, and maybe you get like that vibe of a little bit of negative like emotional energy behind it.
Yeah.
Because it's so obvious when like you're trying to do something with like the emotions behind it. Like you can't hide your body language, and yours is obviously you're just goofing off. But I do see every once in a while on a jiu-jitsu mat that you'll see somebody like usually I feel like after like getting subbed or maybe getting subbed a few times, and then you see like the eye of the tiger a little bit, and they're like, "Fool me once, shame on me," you know. And then it's like the 9th time, and they look at you like, "I'm gonna get you now," you know.
Or is it like when people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of tired right now," and this is me often, right, where I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of tired. So what if we just like flow on this one or go like 50%?" Like, yeah, and then like immediately like,
yeah. I mean, I think since I met you guys, like I'd already been training for so long, and so I feel like in like a negative way, maybe lost a little bit of that same kind of like competitive drive, right? To like, or almost like killer instinct, or just kind of ego rolling too, you know? But I was rolling that way from like, you know, first decade at least, probably more than that of jiu-jitsu, probably all the way up until like pretty recently, of like fighting tooth and nail for things, proving myself on the mat. But now I feel like I've just spent enough time on the mat that kind of fizzled out my competitive drive to where it's like I got to get really excited to want to have one of those like super tough scraps with someone trying to kill them, you know. But I think that's just like a matter of time on the mat, and it just depends on the situation. I mean, this guy pulls it out of me pretty quickly. He's singing and goofing off during a roll, but then like once it gets real, he'll start fighting back. Yeah, so he's like that, and then all of a sudden like it's kind of like what you were singing the other day, and your training partner was like, "Man, it's actually kind of terrifying." And
I was straight up scatting for 5 minutes with Tank Cowboy Bebop. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, that was Matty Graps. It's kind of terrifying.
But yeah, like the thing with you is now that we're doing a lot more competition training, you will like rise to the occasion, right? Mm-hmm. So you'll just like kind of goof off and maybe not like be a mat bully during like a beginner's class or something. Mm-hmm. But then in the comp training where it's like all these killers like Grayson or something, it's like you're stubborn enough to still fight back hard there, you know? So I think it's just finding the balance between like when someone's really good and they actually push you, that you're like, okay, now it's time to fight back, and then like treating the rounds with like other people that you could submit more like that. But again, like Mik said, there's like a fine line of there's people I could roll with and submit and do it in a dickhead way, or I could roll with them and submit them and do it in like a appropriate way, you know?
Yeah.
And do you think part of that too is the balance of your training partner to like understand that, you know, there might be like a skill outmatch too, and just be like, I don't need to fight every armbar that I'm in as hard as I can. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Andrew Tackett's one of the best examples of dealing with all of this, right? Because he's the UFC BJJ welterweight champion. Being in that position, it's like inarguably he's at least one of the best grapplers in the world. Mm-hmm. I would say that for his weight class, he's been at 1, 2, and 3 spot for a couple years now, you know? But he'll do these things with people because being in that position and having kind of like the reputation he has in the sport, I think people want to like submit the champ, right? Like when you roll with him, you're like, oh, I want to give him a good roll, and I want to test myself maybe, right? And Andrew will kind of protest it, and if he's getting that bad energy and someone's like coming after him, right, he'll just let him submit them, let them submit him, right? And so you'll have this person who's like visiting, and then they train with Andrew, and they like don't read the room and go too hard, and he won't escalate to fight back. He'll just like let you get it and then tap, and then you get like a false positive, right? Where he let you do that. You didn't submit him. So then now you have to go back and tell your friends like, oh, I submitted Andrew Tackett. It's like, did you really though? Right? And so I think he's kind of a master.
That guy with the belt on the TV, you submitted him.
Yeah. And so he's kind of the master of writing all these lines where like what you were saying of maybe like for him rolling with someone else, like he's not going to put too much pressure on someone that like can't handle it. And then if someone's rolling like super aggressive with him, if he doesn't know him and doesn't trust him, like he's not going to meet that back, and he'll just kind of meet it with like actually being more passive. And that's also like a safety thing, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not going to try to get into some scrap in a training room over nothing. But just the baseline of like letting people submit you when they really want to submit you doesn't give them what they actually wanted, you know? And then I feel like after those, like if you do start rolling harder, often like jiu-jitsu, you can't lie. So it's like if the person's better than you and you kind of disrespect them and try to go really hard and like catch something cheeky on them, like they're going to get you back, you know, and then they'll just like patiently get you back. So I've seen that exact thing play out with Andrew, where some aggressive person is like, and maybe they're just excited. Maybe they're not even being a dick about it. But
maybe they don't actually have like poor intentions. Or
yeah,
anything.
and they just kind of come at him too aggressively, and then you can see in their face after he taps that they're like, oh, whoa, okay. Like there's nothing wrong with tapping Andrew, but maybe the way to treat this when you're visiting is just like kind of move around with him, right? Maybe start finding what is the hardest I can roll with him, and then Andrew will meet you there. And that's why he's so great, right? Because he can do that to the best black belt competitors that he competes against, but he can also do it with like a normal person.
Unless he just decides to demoralize you.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes
He just
like,
straight perched on me like a gargoyle.
Yeah.
One day I'm like, here we are.
Well, and I could see you two matching each other's energy because both of you guys are athletes and take it pretty seriously at times, but you also both are the two goofiest guys I think I might know. So yeah, you guys together, I could see a lot of like that, just like rolling around and
High level goofing.
yeah.
One of my favorite
High-level
things
goofs, baby.
when I'm like training when Wico's there is to just like watch Wico and hear Wico from across the mat going, oh no, as he's doing like backflips and cartwheels and like just like crazy acrobatic scrambles with someone, and he's just like, woo, oh no. And
Right, and then he'll go from that, and then like if someone actually locks up like a real sub on him, then it might turn on, and then it's like the hardest person to choke in the room, you know.
Wait, what happens when it turns on?
It's
when you turn on,
it's like
What's up?
like I was saying it, dude. It's the eye of the tiger, man. It's like you can see it in people's eyes, where like even if you're goofing off, like you don't want to tap, right? So like you might be goofing off, having fun, and then it's like if it's tight enough, you might be like, okay, I'm gonna actually like defend this now, and that's where you can see people like, I don't know, you call it lock in or whatever, you know. But it kind of hits that crossover point where it's like play. All right, we're not playing around anymore. I'm gonna get out of this. Okay, now I got out. Now we're gonna play around again.
Gotcha.
You know?
Okay. I thought you meant like you see it turn on as in like we're going, we're scrapping, we're playing, we're having a good time, we're laughing, and then like we break, and then you see like my eyes like shift, and now I'm in like kill mode. Or some shit, you know what I mean?
you're like, and then they like kind of get you, and then you're like, okay, so I see the time has come.
Yeah.
For my true form.
Exactly. We haven't had that, right?
Yeah.
You don't see that with me, right? Because
When
I
you-
feel like
when
I
you
don't
first
do that.
started and we were more evenly matched, but you progressed so fast and surpassed me that we have not been in that situation in a long time.
Yeah. But have you seen that with me with others at all or anything like that?
I think I see some roles where you are maybe more quiet because you're more focused on what's going on, or maybe you're more intentional or you're thinking about it a little bit more. But I think at the end of the day, like you're still just a fun guy to like have on the mats and be a training partner with.
Just a chill
And
guy.
yeah, I've seen you turn on a little bit. I think more when we would like lift together.
I would lock in.
You would lock in because I would be like, oh, we're just going to go do XYZ. And then you're like, yeah, it's an easy lift. Or you typically you're following a program of some type, and you're like, oh yeah, today I'm going to do, 5 sets of deadlift, 2 to 3 reps per set. Whether I'm like, okay, cool. So then we'd like start loading up racks, and you're like kind of like chill the first couple, and then all of a sudden there's 500 pounds, and then you're just like, lightweight, baby, right? So it's short bursts, at least in weightlifting.
It's periods of focus.
Of like hyper compartmentalization.
We're talking about him turning it on.
Yeah, I could tell because I lift with William sometimes, and what we'll do is like it'll be like me, him, and his wife, just hanging out and chatting. Like usually it's just for us to like talk, right? And we're just kind of going through the lifts, and both Jazz and William will do this. We'll be chatting, hanging out, and they'll be like, "Hold on," put in their earbuds, and just like turn into an absolute psychopath for 12 reps
for
and
set.
then right back to exactly like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, William does the same kind of thing. So
I haven't lifted with William.
Stays way more locked in all the time though. Right?
Yeah,
that dude is pretty dialed. He doesn't really goof off too much when we're at the gym.
Yeah.
Even right now, like at the ranch, like I've seen him a few times this weekend, and he's just like real chill, and like we had a good time and stuff. But he's just like, all right, I'm gonna be out hunting, and like
he's on a mission.
Yeah, he's on a mission. Like he's still focused while he's having fun.
Yeah.
So definitely like super driven, but also like good balance with William. I want to go back a little bit to something you were talking about when like people just drop in the gym, and then they're like Andrew's there, and they want to roll with Andrew, and like
real quick, are you good on drinks? I'm gonna get some more whiskey.
A splash.
Yeah, got you.
Like what a cool accessible sport we have for you to just be able to pay a drop-in fee at a gym, and then for the most part like see a world champ, and maybe even potentially just like roll with him. Like you can't just go throw footballs with the Dallas Cowboys whenever you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where like the circle jerk of jiu-jitsu is, the athletes and the promoters especially try to kind of act like the sport's a little bit further along than it is. So I really think like a mark of the sport growing would actually be that going away. I think jiu-jitsu by nature will always kind of have a more accessibility, but I think with part of what it is like it's just not that big of a sport.
And it's kind of starting, right? Like the UFC PI, obviously a private facility.
Yeah,
you can't just walk
there's
in.
a better example, right?
Is Syndicate kind of like that?
Syndicate does have to have some control over their mind. They are like a regular gym in that like you could go up there and do a drop-in, or you could go up there and get a membership. And now that it's over, like me and Juice got to be there for a private sparring session with Jackson and Marab.
Yeah.
And I said this with Jackson, but like in that environment, I totally wanted to like record that session and post that. And Syndicate's very particular on both the recording and then sometimes like who's even there. That day, Marab, like the MMA class is going on. There's probably 30 plus, maybe 40 people in the MMA class, and there's just like this guy on the mat with a T-shirt on his head, like a hood, like all the way over his whole face, and like shadowboxing, and he had snuck himself all the way into the gym. So Marab, even in his own home gym in Las Vegas, had to sneak himself onto the mat, or else he was going to get mobbed by people.
Oh man, yeah.
So I would say that MMA is a bigger sport, and that's an example. He's a bantamweight champion, and he has to deal with those kind of problems, whereas jiu-jitsu, that doesn't really exist too much. I mean, the New Wave team is the only team I've ever really heard of in jiu-jitsu where it's finally like a professional team training in a professional facility closed to the public.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. I love that about jiu-jitsu as well, because it allows me to do the same thing, right? I can go travel to gyms and go meet people and have like a pretty instant connection with them. And so I do think it is very accessible, and jiu-jitsu guys in general are like super chill and easy to get along with. So like that part's really easy, but I do think that we just have a long way to go on like the professionalizing of it, whether it's the promoters and I think the UFC BJJ is like a good one just because it's such a powerful organization that has experience doing this before. So like they know how to get a combat sport up and running and how to, how to take care of an audience and that kind of stuff. But like every part of the sport I still think has some evolution. The rule sets for the competitions haven't really been figured out. The training methods are heavily debated right now with the whole, we talked about in other episodes of like the ecological learning versus the more traditional method of like teaching a move and then having it do reps on that move with like a partner who's not resisting, and kind of that like model versus the ecological, which is like more games and like specific training situations. So I think that a lot of people are finding the real answer on like the argument of the more traditional method versus ecological is like the best answers a little bit of both. And I think that in the next couple of years we'll have a better explanation of how to utilize ecological training for jiu-jitsu, but then like taking the good parts of how to explain stuff, right? I've talked about this on other episodes, but like boxers have been doing like a lot of the same like training methods for a while. It's pretty figured out like how you get ready for fights. And I think the other problem with jiu-jitsu, say that again?
Punch hanging carcasses.
Yes. Yes. But I think part of the reason it's so hard to come up with like the standard way to train for jiu-jitsu competitions for these professionals is you have guys like maybe just comparing like Andy Varela and Mikey Musumeci or something, right? You got like a dynamic guy who likes to wrestle and stay on his feet, and then a guy like who's never going to wrestle and just like plays guard and does like these crazy leg locks and mostly just guard. So like that's two different athletes that would need two totally different types of training camps and probably different strength and conditioning programs and that kind of stuff.
Obviously tournaments have ramped up a lot in recent times. Do you see that's kind of getting better for those athletes? Because I imagine like a local tournament, right? We go to that Round Rock gym sports complex, and then
Tap cancer out.
Yeah, Wico's like running around in flip flops trying to get warm on the other side. Separate from that, compared to like when I went to CGI one with y'all, and they had like private warm up places. Like I thought that was like a really huge upgrade for the athletes. I mean, is that moving in the right direction?
100%. Yeah, like CJI was one of, you know, with paying every athlete that attended the 10 grand was huge on just like that side. So there's the pay.
Yeah.
But then it's not just the pay, then it's like, how are you treated at the event?
Yeah.
You know, and definitely a step up. I've definitely seen everything from like the smallest possible promotion you could have that's still like a promotion, right, to like the bigger ones. Flow Grappling does a really good job with that, with like warm-up areas and stuff. And you can't ask for too much, right? Like this is just jiu-jitsu and you just need like a flexi roll mat to lay down in a green room, right? So yeah, I think the best thing is like what we need is for the promoters to make the events like a rugby game. 2 40-minute periods. Rugby has a way bigger audience, right? And I'm not saying that this is the only reason why rugby is more popular than jiu-jitsu, but it is a consumable show to watch in a reasonable amount of time. We were at CJI 1. Right?
So long.
I sat in that chair from I think 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Right?
Was
It
this
something
the
like that. It was
CJI
like 8 hours. No, this was the first one on the first day.
one.
I'm pretty sure
Wait,
it was
we
like
finished at 1 a.m.?
it was something like that. It was a super long day.
I don't
I
remember.
don't even. Yeah.
I remember it was like the YouTube video itself is like 9 hours, you know, so the whole production's even longer than 9
Remember,
hours.
like we ran out of edibles and we were like going around like, who has more?
Yeah, like I came up, came down again.
Yeah.
You know. But my point is that like one of the things that they could do in addition to just having like good promotion of the event and taking good care of the athletes through like covering their hotels and their travel and that kind of stuff is just making it essentially, I'm just arguing for a shorter show. And it's tough because you don't want to have like 2-3 matches. That's not like enough, right? But having it to where it's minimal amounts of time in between the matches and a lot of action in the matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people who are watching jiu-jitsu matches love a quick submission, so it's not about like the length of the match that matters, but like keeping the production flowing,
Well,
right, where it's got like a good pace. Because sometimes I've actually watched all the promotions over the years, right, and like they can get rough. I mean, it's like late night start times on these cards, and then they last really long time, and you're sitting there watching 4 or 5 hours of jiu-jitsu, and like I'll say things like, I don't think anyone loves jiu-jitsu more than me, right? Like, I really care about this sport,
Yeah.
and I'm super passionate, and I've had times where I'm watching these events, and I'm like, dude, I'm kind of over this now. Like, it's just so long to be watching.
Yo,
it.
are you talking specifically about live events, like going in person, or viewing from the TV as well?
I actually don't mind the longer events in person as much, just because there's stuff to do, there's people to talk to, whatever. But I really dislike it as like a consumer on my couch at home. So when I'm like watching something, and it's just so long. I mean, even the Super Bowl is shorter than most jiu-jitsu events.
Yeah.
Other sports have been kind of going through similar things. So baseball, right? And was it last year or the year before? In the Major League Baseball, they introduced timer for pitching because they're like, we can't do these like 4-hour-long games on a Tuesday. Like, we're losing the audience.
Yeah.
So now the games are much faster. I don't know what it's done for like scoring and all that kind of stuff.
Wait, a timer for pitching?
Yeah.
to-
So like in old baseball, and I'm not a baseball player or anything. I'm just a very casual like observer. But used to like they'd catch the ball, they'd kind of walk around, adjust their pants, chew some gum, put some pine tar on their fingers when no one's looking. Wait, the batter's like doing warm-ups, they're walking up, and then they're like standing there and then doing some practice swings, and the pitcher's just kind of chilling. And by the time they throw like a pitch, it's been like a minute since they threw the last pitch.
Yeah.
And that adds up over 9 innings.
Yeah. Okay.
But now in baseball, there's a timer.
clock.
So they throw the pitch, and I don't know exactly when the timer starts, and I think it's 30 seconds, but it just starts, and it's visible on like the wall behind the catcher, so the pitcher can see it, the catcher can see it, like on the scoreboard. Everyone's tracking. We're all on the same time. It's just going down, and the dude's got to release the ball before it gets to 0, and it speeds up the game. Cricket, a notoriously long sport. I know y'all are avid cricket.
Yeah, I'm a
fans.
big cricket guy myself.
But they would last days.
What
like-
the fuck?
Yeah, multiple, like it's the same team. Let's say it's India versus the UK or England. I don't think the UK has a team. India versus England, right? They show up for a match, and it's gonna last like a whole weekend, all day, kind of like a jiu-jitsu tournament, but it's just the same two teams, so you're seeing the same guys over and over. So in India, like one of the pro leagues in India introduced, I think it's called like T20, and they just like cut all the fat by a lot. Now they're not doing as many pitches, as many hits, but the games go faster, and it's now like the most dominant format of cricket. And there's like maybe talks about putting it as like an international standard for like international competition. But yeah, so it's not just jiu-jitsu that's dealing with getting too drawn out for the sake of the sport and people losing interest.
Well, and the cricket one's a different example, because when you're talking about like games going on for days, like that's just like a totally different type of a sport where that probably has happened for a long time with like the history of cricket,
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu is not like that. So like but my point was like, I don't think that like cricket getting shorter has anything to do with TikTok brain, but I think maybe like the MLB and jiu-jitsu has a little bit to do with that. Just in like everyone is fighting this, having a super short attention span. We're talking about spending time with people and being on your phone. So even when you're watching the cricket game or the jiu-jitsu event, you're not even watching it. You're also on your phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like the future of sports is going to be like what we, if you see in like Wall-E or like Idiocracy, and it's like the sport's going on and there's like 5 other screens around it with other like advertisements and stuff to catch your attention, So I think it's just going to be more and more difficult to catch people's attention with like short form content and phones, So I think the longer the sports, I feel like a lot of people that even used to watch full games probably watch like highlights now and stuff.
Yeah.
How long do you think dead goat ball is?
Probably long, right? Seems like a whole day kind of thing. Kok-Boru.
I don't know.
That seems like another one that could go for days, just by like.
I feel like
I think that's a really long one.
Yeah,
But that's like a maybe in those communities, it's like a cultural gathering too, right? It's like, people are coming up, they're watching the match, yeah, for sure, but they're also just like seeing family, seeing friends, like hanging out. After the match is over, they're probably hanging out in the parking lot and just talking for forever. Kind of like a football game here in the United States, like a big college or NFL team, right? People come out for the tailgate, they stay for the game, maybe stay afterwards.
Yeah.
There's some differences. But yeah, for the televised portion and making money is ultimately what like these organizations need to do to survive.
Yeah, and
is the
like
strategies.
This is a point I've had for a while, and I'm not suggesting this as a solution for jiu-jitsu or anything, but to me, it's an example of how the fighting sports have had to keep their audience. Is like you have a round and then you have a break for a minute. Call it boxing or MMA. And what do they do in that minute break? Ring card girls, right? So the fighting in the rounds are usually pretty entertaining. There's going to be lulls, and then there's going to be high action parts. And then what are we supposed to do as fans during the rest time?
Pull out your phone and scroll.
Right. But like the old way, especially at the live events, is like you get the ring card girls. And like, I don't know how many combat sports events you've been to. I've been to tons.
Less than you.
And especially, I love this at like the smaller promotions. Like the scene you're talking about at the wrestling.
Yeah.
Those kind of like for boxing matches or something. It's like that ring card girl takes the walk and like the crowd gets involved, so you can see like it is a play by the, by whoever's promoting it or producing it to keep the audience. Right.
Yeah,
and like
sure.
the UFC ring card girls are kind of famous and like well known. Right. And, I think that those are like the stuff that jiu-jitsu is kind of lacking, right? Like it doesn't look like the other combat sports, and I'm not suggesting ring card girls for it, but
A
it's
high
just
school
like,
marching band comes out between
Yeah.
the rounds and does a performance.
So I
Oh, like a good band from like an HBCU
that
with some flavor, some
Dude.
actual musicality.
we should just get like two HBCU bands siding
Texas
with like red
Southern.
and blue corner,
Versus, Prairie View A&M. Let's go.
Yeah.
I've seen Drumline. I know how that should work.
Oh, so when we were in high school, Juico, who's, as we've discussed a lot, doesn't watch much TV or movies.
Has very few pop culture references as a millennial.
Just scats and sings jazz and 90s hip hop. But he got so excited for this movie that was coming out, so he told me and our other friend, he was like, hey, let's go this movie. Let's go this movie. I think it's going to be so cool. Check it out. It's called Stomp the Yard. And we were like, all right, I don't know anything about this, but
I like how embarrassed he's getting. Continue.
let's go. No, but like, we watched the movie. Have you ever seen Stomp the Yard?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
so,
the crumping one, right?
yeah, being an HBCU and just like stomping, and there's some crump in there for sure. And when we watched it, we were like, I don't know what my expectations were, but it was not this movie. And I was just like, this is fucking not what I thought it'd be. So afterwards, we gave him so much shit. But now, like, looking back on it, like, that was kind of a fucking cool movie. And, like,
Thank you.
now we have, like, a lot of just, like, inside jokes. And, like, you will even be like, pork chop, extra gravy.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. And then, and even from, like, our little suburb outside of San Antonio that we grew up in, like, I didn't know much about, like, HBCUs and that culture. But now, like, when I'm scrolling on my phone during breaks on a game, like, I might come across, like, some Omegas or something like that, like, stomping and stuff. I'm like, oh, I understand the context now. This is super cool. Everyone's getting hype. It's super fun. But, yeah.
There's a trombone player. I think he was at Texas Southern. I could be wrong. William Bilal. I don't know how to say his last name. But he's got these, like, viral videos you've probably come across of, like, the trombone solos.
Okay.
When they're at, like, a football game and
Okay.
they're doing, like, the kind of band battle. And then you can hear, like, the commentary guy for the game, like, bands, you're not supposed to be playing while the ball while the ball is in play. You can't be playing music. Yeah, dude. And then they'll just like take the penalty or whatever, and then just like go to the epic
I
band
know
battle.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, fuck yeah.
And
bro.
then I think also maybe Stomp the Yard. I don't know if it preceded Drumline, but like
I remember
maybe
that
set
era.
some
Yeah, they were
context.
definitely around each other.
But yeah, like Drumline, Drumline's like just a fun movie. It's very silly.
It's hard to hate on Drumline, dude.
Yeah.
Those scenes.
Is it? A lot of people hate on.
A lot of
Drumline.
people hate on it,
A
but,
lot
like-
of people hate on shit that I like, but man, I'm not like. Let me enjoy shit, bro. Like,
I mean, like we talked about with
cool.
Josh Job.
Nick Cannon
like,
just had
fuck
a
the
bad
haters,
wig for half the
dude.
movie. So
He did what?
Nick Cannon had like a bad wig for part of the movie.
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah. But he worked it.
Yeah, I just feel like on the scenes with the stadium lighting and the drum solos and all that. It's like that's objectively entertaining.
It's fun. Yeah.
Sick.
It's like a sports movie when they do some crazy shenanigans at the last minute. You know, there's 15 seconds left on the clock, and there's a 45-second like sequence where they're just like slow motion.
100%, bro. That's fucking sick.
Yeah.
I do have like little patience for like just being like a jiu-jitsu coach and doing all the martial arts stuff is when there's like the surrogate for the fight where it's like two guys squaring up. I'm going to play on your drum. And it's like that's the fight, but like there's like the mad dog in each other and I do get like all right, come on guys. Like, like you guys are band kids getting into
play
band
on his
beat.
drum.
Yeah. And I'm just such like a psycho about it that I'm like stick the drum in his eye, you know, like fight, you know, let's actually do some combat, but that's just like
What were you going to say about Josh?
Oh, I'm just talking about the haters, man. Like people hating on drumline and it's like okay, I mean, obviously, I'm a hater on a ton of stuff, but like just going back to what we were talking about with Josh of the world we live in, of just like shitting on things and shitting on people, and like, what does it do for you?
It's easy to do online, and it gives you a small inflated ego initially, but it's just like scrolling, right? Like, sometimes I'll take a month off of Instagram. I'll delete the app from my phone. I'll still have an account, but just like do a reset, and then after a month, reinstall it, open Instagram, and scrolling for like 3-5 minutes is actually cool. Like this was fun, and I enjoyed it.
Dopamine hits.
Yeah, the dopamine actually
after
hits.
the break.
But then after a while, right, like the effect wears off. I think that's what people do when they're belittling, like especially in our social media world that we live in. When they start off, they're like, "Oh, I'm so witty with this like burn." Like
I got him.
Can't believe Juico wears that stupid fucking hat all the time. What a nerd. And
so please comment down below that you hate Juico's stupid hat.
I love Juico's hat. But you know, but then after a while it's just like
we want more online bullying on this show.
Yeah, we're just talking shit for the sake of it or to try to sound edgy to our friends or something. I don't know. Juico's not a big shit talker, which I appreciate. I'm a big shit talker and he tolerates me. But yeah, I personally need to tone it back a bit.
I feel like Juico's shit talking is like all or nothing. Like he's just
man.
Yeah, it's fucking like when you go, it's fucking mean as shit, dude.
Honestly, I feel like Janice takes the most of it.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
I feel terrible. That was exactly what I was thinking about. I was like, bro, you'll just like not ever say anything mean and be like, you're a bitch. And it's like, damn. That stings.
I was like, wait, what? He was so nice.
Hey, do you guys want to go shoot some guns?
Yeah.
Sick.
I'm down.
All
I'm
right.
going to eat first because I'm about to pass out.
Real quick, I was the chef this weekend, and I just want to walk y'all through what
He
these
fucking killed it. Let's go.
these alpha athletes when I'm feeding them.
Yes, chef.
Friday night, flank steak with chimichurri and baked potatoes and tortillas for Davis.
Mushrooms,
some
bell
asparagus,
peppers.
bell peppers, all on the griddle, salt and pepper, a little bit of oil. You don't need a lot. Don't
Hit it with
overseason your stuff.
SPG, also with some steak seasoning that may have given him some.
You can add
a little bit of allergic reaction. We're all good though.
No big deal.
add a little bit of salt at the beginning. You can always add salt later, but you can't take away salt. All right, pro tip. And then breakfast,
Pro tip.
that same steak and egg tacos and chimichurri. And then for lunch, that same steak and chimichurri on sandwiches. And that's what makes a champion.
Well,
Champion.
thanks again for joining us out here. Having a great time. Juice, what we got for the follows? We got Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Game Plan the Podcast, Game Plan the Pod on Instagram, Cold Jiu-Jitsu, Weeko.skilltree.matspace.
Fucking whatever, bro.
Finally got it.
I got a couple.
Please comment down below bullying Weeko for his stupid hat.
Maybe why does it have to be so negative?
Because
I have a
negative
couple
engagement
hats.
is the only thing that's working these days. It's all just hate out there.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks
Shit
so
on
much
me,
for
guys.
watching. We'll be back with another episode soon.
Bye. Oh, game plan. That wasn't that good.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
All right. Redo.
Mulligan. Okay. Game plan. Count it.
There it
Let's
goes.
fucking go.
There it goes.
Every day.
That was fun. Oh, this is so weird with not the home setup.
Sorry, man. I feel like the RV stuff was dragging as beginning. I'm glad you pulled us out of it. I was
bro.
just like,
I feel like context matters so much.